most of the eggs. So we repeat the same process for the clearance species. So I'm adding the clearance sperm to the clearance gariepinus egg as well. Okay, as we can see. Don't forget, if I decide to do a crossing of any type, then the fish becomes hybrid. So that means it is not pure Heterobanchus longiphilis, neither will it be pure clearance gariepinus. But with this that we are doing presently, we are trying to get a pure of the species. Although you need to take note that they both belong to the same family, but they are of different species. Although they all belong to the family Claridae, but they are of different species. So right now we can continue to steer. Okay, since I'm having two and I want to avoid contamination, so I can just continue to achieve the process this way. Okay, we can continue to achieve the process this way. Okay, so let's go for incubation process now. So we'll go and release the eggs, you know. So let's go and do that now. Follow us. Okay, sorry, the actual environment look a little bit dark, but let's look closer to what we have in the facility. Let's look closer to what we have in the facility. Right there, you can see that the net is already down at the bottom, and we are going to spray our eggs on it. Okay, but like I said from the beginning, some people also prefer to use this, which is the kakaban or as well. The benefit of this is that you can use the both together because one actually stays at the bottom and the other one stays close to the surface of the water. Okay, so this is where we are going to spread our eggs. I'm still trying to ensure that the sperm goes round. At this point, if you want to be certain, you can still add a little bit of normal saline. Get me normal saline. You can still add a little bit of some normal salines to be certain for proper homogeneity, for proper way for the milk to go around the eggs and ensure that the fertilization process. So even after adding the sperm and the eggs together, the benefit of normal saline is that you can still add again so that you are sure that it goes round. But be careful not to use too much. Too much of everything most times does not give results. Use them in appropriate quantity. Don't overdo it. So I'm still stirring together. Because the eggs are not much, that's why you see that I'm not using the plastic spoon. Since it's not that the eggs are much. But let's assume the eggs are much. I will have assisted for proper homogeneity with even the plastic spoon. Okay? So let's just do it like a few seconds more. By now, we expect that the proper fertilization definitely has taken place all around. So the next thing is essential that since the sperm has already performed its function, most times it is good to actually add a little bit of the water from your incubation facility on the eggs and try to sieve the water out in order to reduce the sperm content in the eggs before spreading it in the incubation facility. So which is what I'm going to do now. I will take a little bit of the water in the facility. Okay. Then I will gradually sieve out that same water. The essence why I'm doing this is to reduce the sperm content here before spreading the eggs, since the sperm has already performed its function. So you have to be careful when doing this so that you don't waste the eggs. You don't mistakenly throw away the eggs. Okay, so I will stop there. It's almost getting to the area of the eggs. Then I will make use of my spoon to spray the eggs. Okay, make use of my spoon to spray the eggs. Make sure that the way you spray, they are not lying on themselves too much. Okay, target the net area and make sure the eggs are not too clustered on one position for better hatchability. Okay, so what is hatchability? Hatchability is the ability of an egg to hatch, meaning there are certain factors that can actually inhibit a high percentage of hatchability of a egg, which when you cluster them on one place, that can be a factor that will not allow them to have a high hatchability. Okay. Okay, so for the purpose of people who might like to use the boat's breeding nets, either the net that stays at the bottom or the kakaban that can stay afloat. So I'm going to use the two so that you both in this tutorial or training, you can learn to use the two depending on the one that is available in your area. So I'm going to also place this. Remember, I told you that the benefit of this is that it stays afloat. Okay, that is why I can use the two together. One stays at the bottom, the other one stays afloat. Okay, so I've been able to make sure it's well submerged, but definitely it will stay afloat. So I'm going to also now spray my eggs on the kakaban. Okay, gradually do that. When you are doing this process, don't be too much in a rush. Okay, so I have been able to dispense all my eggs. The next thing you will do in order to avoid, especially if you're in an area that has high temperature, in order to avoid too much harsh weather or the heat affecting the eggs, especially that on the kakaban since it's afloat, it is always good to upturn the kakaban after spraying. So I'm going to do that now. See the technique I'm going to use. And you decide to bring them together, then make use of your spoon or your hand to upturn it. You see, just upturn it so that the eggs face down, not up, in order to avoid extra heat or harsh condition affecting the hatchability of the eggs. So with this, we are through with the incubation process. And the next thing we are going to await now is the hatchability, the hatching of the fish, the coming of the hatchlings. And that will be definitely dependent on temperature. That will be plus or minus. We have 24 hours depending on the temperature in your area. For people who have a high temperature situation in their area, maybe your temperature is getting to almost 40 degrees, 30, 36, 37, 38, you might experience the hatchability earlier than 24 hours. Okay, so the hatchability plus or minus is 24 hours, meaning we'll be back here to check again to see the results. Thank you very much. And stay tuned in this channel. I want to believe you have learned so far. And if there's anything you are going to do, help us to like and subscribe so that you will have more of our tutorials or training from the Fountain Farms online community for free online training on aquaculture and other agricultural products. Thank you and stay tuned.